Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score on this Friday night in this series opener in Colorado, the Rockies 3 and the Padres nothing, as the Padres drop to 76-65 on the season. The Rockies improve to 40-101 as the Padres get shut out on 3 hits as they lose a 5th in a row. Hey, player, the all-new Jamul Casino Resort is now open with a Lux Hotel Tower, rooftop pool, spa, and a long list of amazing amenities. You'll have more ways to play and enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll recap this one in its entirety. We'll go back to Denver, hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Well, much like I've said the last handful of days, no way around it, aside from Nick Pivetta going 6 innings in this game and being good, pitched plenty good enough to win, especially where it was and especially with his history at Coors Field. Aside from that, there was not a ton of good to take away from this game from a Padres standpoint as they lose a 5th in a row. Not only is this Rocky team a team that came in with 101 losses, here were some of the numbers on Kyle Freeland entering tonight's game. Freeland came in with an ERA on the season of 5.41, an 8.18 ERA in his last 3 starts, 6.71 ERA in 12 starts at Coors Field, and a 7.88 ERA in his last 3 starts against the Padres. Padres got 5 runs in 5 innings against them back in San Diego in April. And to Jesse and Scan's points during the post-game wrap-up, this was a different guy here tonight. He was really, really good. 8 scoreless innings, 2 hits allowed. He was perfect through 4 1/3. He was excellent, and he was super efficient. I mean, take a look at the pitch totals in this game, inning by inning for Kyle Freeland. 9 pitches, 14 pitches, 9, 14, 12, 12, 8, 10. I mean, he did not throw 15 pitches in any of the 8 innings tonight. He was dominant. And that's one way to look at it here tonight, of course. And I'll give credit to Kyle Freeland. That looked like a different guy tonight. He was dominant. His location was unbelievable. I thought his knuckle curve was terrific tonight. He was a different guy on the mound tonight. With that said, the Padres offensively needed to do a whole lot more tonight than what they did. And it is hard to look at what's been going on and the way this team is playing and the struggles they are having. Padres have now lost 9 of 11. They've lost 5 in a row. They're now 1-6 in this stretch against the Twins, Orioles, and Rockies, all teams well below 500. The Rockies in particular, well below 500. It's hard to look at this game and only tip your cap to Kyle Freeland. I mean, the Padres, we talked about it pregame. The number one key in today's game was Nick Pivetta giving you effectiveness and giving you length. And he did both those things, especially with his history at Coors Field. This is a guy that came in with an ERA higher than 17 at Coors Field, and Pivetta was great. 6 innings, 2 runs given up at the altitude in that ballpark. Guess what? That's good enough to win. If I would have told you that Pivetta goes 6 innings, 2 runs given up, and the Rockies score 3 runs in this game with Kyle Freeland on the mound, if you're a Padres fan, you're taking that. You're saying, hey, we got to be able to score more than 3 runs against an 100-loss team at the altitude in Denver, against the guy who came in with nearly a 6 ERA and has not been good at home and not been good as of late. But it didn't play out that way today. The Padres offense simply did not get anything going against Freeland. They had a little rally in the 9th inning. Manny grounds into a double play to end the inning. And the bottom line is, we wondered on Wednesday if the sweep by the Orioles would be sort of the low point of this stretch. And unfortunately, it wasn't. I mean, tonight, the low point gets a little bit lower. And not to say that you can't pull yourself out of it. You can if you're the San Diego Padres. But let's just be honest about it for a second. It's not a great look to get shut out by an 100-loss team, by a pitcher that came in with an ERA near 6 and a guy you've seen a ton over the years. This was not the first time at all the Padres were seeing Kyle Freeland. And that's what I got for you in the opening segment here tonight. Freeland was really, really good. He was a different guy tonight. But it's kind of hard to look at it from the Padres standpoint and just tip your cap tonight. It really is. Because with the way this has been going, with the way the pitching has struggled, you looked at the offense in this game and said, hey, they got to put up some runs. And this was not a game, much like a lot of this stretch has been, where the starting pitching put this offense in a really tough spot. This was not that tonight. Pivetta was good. Morgan gave up a run. Okay. Alec Jacob got through a scoreless inning. I mean, if you're the San Diego Padres and you were going to give up 3 runs in Denver, you have to be able to score more and overcome that. And the Padres offense simply couldn't do that tonight against Kyle Freeland, and then couldn't capitalize against Victor Vodnik in the 9th inning. So it has been a very, very frustrating stretch for this baseball team. There's no way around it. And the frustrations continue as they've lost 5 in a row, 9 of 11. The only good news about tonight, the Dodgers lost in Baltimore. Again, they continue to struggle. I mean, that's the amazing thing about how this is all going right now. It's not just the Padres playing poorly. The Dodgers are nearly playing as poorly right now against the teams like the Pirates and now the Orioles. They lost to the Orioles in Baltimore tonight. So that's the only silver lining, I suppose, although I will tell you, and we'll get into the out-of-town scoreboard a little bit later, and we'll get to the game highlights, Mike Shildt, here in a little bit. I will tell you this, though. The San Francisco Giants are playing out of their mind right now. They won again against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. The Giants are 4 games out behind the Padres of a playoff spot right now. So is that knocking on the door? It's getting close. And for the Padres, and me included, I've seen the postseason as a foregone conclusion for weeks now. And a 4-game lead with how little the schedule is left is still a lot. But make no mistake, and we've said it now for a few days, the San Diego Padres, regardless of their schedule, they've got to play well, and they've got to play better. And it's getting tighter than what you would hope when you look at that situation around the wild card standings. A 3-0 loss to the Rockies, obviously not what you wanted here tonight as the Padres lose a 5th in a row. We'll step aside when we come back. Full game recap. We'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up in a little bit as well. Final score, Rockies 3, Padres nothing on the Padres Radio Network.
Contractors.
Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Another tough one here for the Padres tonight. 3-0. The Rockies beat them in Denver. Padres dropped to 76-65. They have lost 5 in a row now. And look, I'm not trying to pile on here, but in this stretch against the Twins, Orioles, and Rockies, the Padres are now 1-6 in that stretch. They've lost 9 of 11, and they'll try to bounce back with Randy Vasquez making the start tomorrow. We'll go back to Denver, hear from Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. Let's recap this one in Denver from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup, Nick Pivetta for the Padres against Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Pivetta stranded 2 on in the first inning. He stranded a runner on second base in the second. Meanwhile, Kyle Freeland was perfect through 3 innings to begin his night. That brought us to the bottom of the third. Pivetta got the first 2 outs, but then it was Hunter Goodman.
Here's the 1-1. Goodman swings, sends it in the air to right field and deep. Fernando is back. He's at the big birdcage wall, and this one gonna go into the bullpen in right center field. Hunter Goodman's 28th of the year, and the Rockies strike first. It's 1-0.
Freeland then struck out the side in the 4th inning. He had a season-high 8 strikeouts in 4 perfect innings. Freeland got the first out of the 5th, and the Padres got a 1-out double from Ramon Laureano. He was stranded on second base. Laureano, the first base runner of the evening for San Diego. Bottom half of the 5th inning, Pivetta got the first 2 outs, but then Mickey Moniak hit a leadoff single. Hunter Goodman singled. That got Moniak to third base. Jordan Beck was next.
Back to batter, swings at the first pitch, grounds it up the middle. Iglesias way to his left, flips to Cronenworth. Oh, just a little bit high. Jay couldn't keep his foot on the bag, so Goodman's safe there. Moniak comes in to score, and an RBI infield single for Beck makes it 2-0. Nearly one of the best defensive plays we've seen all year.
Yeah, it was a great effort by Jose Iglesias. Did all he could, went up the middle, made a beautiful flip to Jake Cronenworth. It was just a little bit high. Cronenworth had to come off the bag to grab it. The run came in. It was a 2-0 game through 5 innings. Meanwhile, Freeland was just cruising. A 1-2-3 6th inning, a 1-2-3 7th inning. Nick Pivetta went 6 innings. He allowed just the 2 runs, by far the best start of his career at Coors Field. So the Padres trail 2-0, going to the bottom half of the 7th inning. David Morgan came on. He allowed a 2-out walk. That would be really costly. Hunter Goodman then blooped one down the right field line. Fernando Tatis Jr. had a long way to run for it. Couldn't get there. It dropped in. Moniak was running on contact with 2 men away. He scored from first base. RBI double for Goodman, and the Rockies had a 3-0 lead. Meanwhile, Freeland worked around a 2-out single in the 8th inning. How good was he today? Freeland, 8 shutout innings, 2 hits, no walks, season-high 10 strikeouts on only 88 pitches. Padres still trailed 3-0 going to the bottom, or I should say, top of the 9th inning. Victor Vodnik came on for the Rockies for the save opportunity. Vodnik was a little erratic early in the inning. He walked Luis Ariz, who pinch hit for Elias Diaz in the number 9 spot. Fernando Tatis Jr. singled. So all of a sudden, the Padres had 2 on, nobody out. The tying run at the plate. Ryan O'Hearn flew out to left. Manny Machado dug in with 2 on and 1 out.
Pitch to Manny, chopped to third base. Karros has it, a fair ball. To the bag at third, that's 1. The throw across is in time, and a double play to end the game.
And that was that. Manny Machado grounding into a double play to end the game. Manny representing the tying run at the time, and the Rockies win it 3-0 to win this series opener in Colorado. Final totals here today for the Rockies: 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors. And for the Padres, no runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. Kyle Freeland was excellent. He improves to 4-14 on the year. Nick Pivetta was really good. 6 innings, 2 runs given up. He drops to 13-5, and Victor Vodnik gets his 7th save of the season. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Much more to come as we continue to wrap this one up on the Padres Radio Network.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered, what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor league baseball broadcaster. Start my day with a cup of coffee, then to the stadium. Go to my booth, spend the morning cutting video from the night before, catching up on email, and researching for tonight's game. Then I go home, shower, get my work clothes, and on this day I made a stop for lunch. Barbecue. Then I drive back to the stadium, get our equipment ready like setting up all the mics. I watch batting practice, talk to the players, coaches, write my lineups in, keep researching, and prep for my pregame interviews. Change from this to this. I head down to the field, host my pregame show on TV, then back upstairs where I broadcast every pitch on TV and radio.
And the Soft Poodles win.
When you watch baseball on TV or listen to it on the radio, have you ever wondered how you hear this sound so clearly? At my stadium, that sound comes from this mic behind home plate. It's wired all the way up to my broadcast booth, where I plug it in and that's how you hear it. During my broadcast last night, everyone wanted me to say avocado. Could I do it? Beautiful night here in San Antonio. So nice it almost feels like that feeling when you break open an avocado, you spread it on a good piece of toast, you take a bite in the morning, and with that, the 2021 season, and with that, the 2022 season, and with that, the 2023 season, and with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. Why do I peek down when a fly ball goes in the air? Let me show you. In my scorebook, I write down the defense and where every player is. That way, I can do this. 2-2 on the way. Swinging a drive into left. Going back, Matajevic drifting by the fence. He's looking up and say goodbye.
People keep asking how I go to the bathroom during games. Here's the answer. I run. The bathroom is far away. Really far. I only have 90 seconds.
The bottom half of the 6th
I'm
inning.
always out of breath.
Frisco 3, Amarillo 2.
How other broadcasters handle a foul ball.
Yeah! Hacks!
How I handle
3-2.
one.
Hit foul, straight back this way. Oh my goodness.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here tonight, the Rockies 3 and the Padres nothing. Padres drop to 76-65. The Rockies improve to 40-101. With the Padres losing, the Mets winning. Padres and Mets are now tied in the wild card standings, so that is something to keep in mind now. Padres teetering on perhaps entering into that last wild card spot. Remember, the Padres do go to New York, not this coming week, but the week after on their next road trip. So those are going to be big games between those two teams. Padres also now 5 games behind the Chicago Cubs, who won today. They hold the first wild card spot. Again, silver lining, good news today. Dodgers continue to struggle too. They lose today on a walk-off home run in Baltimore. So the Padres do remain 2 games out of first place in the National League West. But as I alluded to earlier, another part of this now, and it's getting a little tighter than you'd want. The Giants are now 4 games out behind the Mets and the Padres out of the wild card picture. Hey, there's a lot of baseball left to play. So it's getting a little tighter than you would like, I would say. Even at 4 games, and the Padres had another tough one here tonight. They lose 3-0. The headlines from this game, pretty simple. Nick Pivetta was good. 6 innings, 2 runs given up on 7 hits, considering his history at Coors Field and the fact that it just is Coors Field at the altitude. That is good enough to win. The Padres could not do anything against Kyle Freeland, who came in with an ERA well higher than 5, 8 innings, no runs, 2 hits, no walks, struck out 10. He was simply terrific for Colorado today. Padres put 2 on with nobody out in the 9th inning against Victor Vodnik, but they could not score. With all that in mind, let's go back to Colorado, hear from Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Mike, what'd you make of today? I mean, Kyle Freeland.
He threw the ball well. Feedback from the hitters was a little different look than what we've seen. We've got some history against him, and I guess the fastball was looking different to some guys, and the slider had a little different shape than we were used to. He threw the ball well, controlled counts. The discouraging part was just the lack of adjustments as the game went. We tip our hat, but as we talk about, is being better as the game goes, and we just didn't make the adjustments necessary to be able to get more consistent traffic, consistent bats, and be able to do anything to shorten his outing. But he threw the ball well. Give him credit.
Your teams historically go back to St. Louis. They get better as the season goes.
Yep.
What do you make of a 5-game losing streak at this point in the season?
It's uncharacteristic. I alluded to better as the game goes. It's also a factor of it's the game, it's a series, it's the season, and we've built momentum to be able to do that this year, and it's just we haven't been able to put any consistency of how you win games together in a couple of different areas. Outside of tonight, Nick was fantastic tonight. He was great. Pitched extremely well. Stole a homer. They scratched a run. Gave us a quality 6th inning, two runs. Did more in his part to give us a chance. Excellent quality start. We've just got to pair that with some more offense and play the game a little more cleaner, consistently.
What did you make of Boy and Dick? I mean, he has not pitched well here. He fought early on, but then he got 6 innings, and it's important for you guys.
It is important. It's important for him. It's important for us. He got in his rhythm. Fastball had really good life to it. They would throw inside enough to keep him honest. Spin was good. So overall, it's just a really nice outing.
Nick was really good. Obviously, the guy on the other side was pretty good tonight too. But just at this point in the season, is this one kind of tough to swallow? Like one of those that got away because just as far as gaining ground in the standings tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, tonight would have been tough to swallow, regardless of date of the calendar. I understand the importance of where we're at in the season, but one thing for me is that we're hungry all the time, and the games all matter. They're all playoff games to me and us, and so of course they're more magnified this time of year. We'll turn it around. We just will, and I've got complete confidence in that clubhouse. And but actions got to start to speak louder than words.
The in-game adjustments, is that maybe the most alarming thing for you?
It is. And again, easier said than done, but the intent to make the adjustments, the communication to make the adjustments. But again, Freeland threw the ball well, and we give him credit. But this is a game of adjustments, and right now we've got to make a few.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this 3-0 loss for the Padres in Colorado. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. Look, I thought, Mike there making a good point about his team, lack of adjustments offensively. Again, Kyle Freeland was good tonight. It was a lot better than he's been this year. Really good. If you watch the game, he was working both sides of the plate. Location was terrific. With that said, again, the Padres are at a point in their season, and with the way things have been going, where they have to be able to adjust. And if a guy is throwing the ball really well, you've got to adjust to what he's doing. And there was a lot of chasing tonight. I mean, how many times did we see the Padres chase that knuckle curve in the dirt? It was over and over and over. And I'm not sitting here pretending to be the hitting guru. I never do that because I'm not. Okay, I'm a broadcaster who played high school baseball. However, sometimes when you're watching a game, it's obvious that there needs to be adjustments made, and it felt that way today. A lot of chasing. Freeland was really, really good, but the Padres are also supposed to be really, really good and have to find ways to adjust and respond and do it. You heard there from Mike Shildt. At some point, the actions have to speak louder than the words. Okay, the Padres are still in a playoff position right now, but it is not going well. And, it was one thing losing 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. It was one thing getting swept by the Orioles. Now you look at tonight's game getting shut out at Coors Field. I know Freeland was good, But getting shut out at Coors Field on a night where your pitching finally gave you a good enough outing to work with, that's frustrating. It really, really is. And it does put pressure on the Padres the rest of this series. This is not a series you want to lose to an 100-loss team in Colorado who, is flirting with the most losses ever by a team after the White Sox said it last year. I don't know that they're going to quite get there, but this is a team that has 101 losses on September 5th. They're going to end up with over 110 at least. So it's a frustrating night, and we'll see if the Padres can get things going tomorrow. 5 losses in a row. And again, teams like the Twins, Orioles, and Rockies. So you understand, why Mike Shildt is talking about adjustments, why Mike Shildt is talking about action speaking louder than words. You understand that because the Padres have to start playing better. Bottom line, forget opponent. They have to start playing better. Playing more like the baseball we saw in the first 3 quarters of the year. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll get into our daily awards. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. Final score, Rockies 3, Padres nothing. Our post-game coverage continues after this. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score on this Friday night, Rockies 3 and the Padres nothing. Hope you're having a great Friday despite how the baseball game went tonight in Denver. Maybe you're on the way to your Friday evening plans, on the way home from dinner, whatever you're doing on this Friday evening. We appreciate you spending at least part of it with us here on our post-game coverage. Hey, player, the all-new Jamul Casino Resort is a VIP gaming experience like no other with a luxe hotel, a relaxing spa, rooftop pool. Come enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place, now open. Tough one for the Padres, no doubt about it here tonight. Let's hear our catch of tonight's game.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
Ritter lines it into right field. Fernando charging straight in. He'll get there to slide forward and make the catch. Out number 1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. A nice play by Tatis in right.
Yeah, nice play by Fernando Tatis Jr. in this game, helping Nick Pivetta through what would be a scoreless 5th inning. In fact, I take that back. It was actually later in the inning, the 2 singles by Moniak and Goodman, then the infield single by Beck, but probably from a Padres standpoint, the finest play defensively made of the game by Fernando, a sliding catch in the 5th inning. That was our catch of tonight's game. Now let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Our relief pitcher of today's game, will give it to Colorado's Victor Vodnik. I think it's got to be that way today on the Padres side of things. David Morgan gave up a run. Alec Jacob got through that 8th inning, kept it a 3-run deficit, so a good job by him. But Vodnik, you think about it, 2 on, nobody out, and a part of the order that you don't want to face coming up with O'Hearn and Manny, but O'Hearn flies out, Manny grounds into the double play, and Vodnik gets out of the trouble after there were 2 on, nobody out in that 9th inning with the Rockies leading 3-0. Vodnik picks up his 7th save of the season, so for all those reasons, we'll hand our relief pitcher of the game to the Rockies' Victor Vodnik. Let's talk about the heart of the Padres order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Heart of the order here tonight, Manny, Sheets, and Laureano. Manny 0 for 4, Sheets 0 for 3. Laureano did have a base hit. That was a double first base runner against Kyle Freeland. I'll tell you what, Laureano came very close to a home run in the 2nd inning as well. So that's what the heart of the order did. They went a combined 1 for 10 in this game between Manny, Sheets, and Laureano. Laureano, the only guy to have a base hit. Manny 0 for 4, including a game-ending double play. Sheets 0 for 3, and Laureano 1 for 3 today. That's a look at the heart of the Padres order. Well, something we talked about in the pregame today, I talked about it during my What to Watch For segment, and it was a pretty simple premise in that segment today. It was, with how things have been going lately, the Padres desperately need Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado to be run producers, and you sort of hoped, even though it was in a game where the Padres were trailing, that, the home run for Manny on Wednesday, the home run for Fernando on Wednesday, hopefully would get him going, and hypothetically, Coors Field should be a place where they can find power and swing the bats. Didn't go that way tonight. I know Fernando had the single in the 9th inning. It was a good piece of hitting by him. But, Manny, game-ending double play, 0 for 4. Again, I made the point earlier in the pregame, from a run-producing standpoint, the Padres, when things are going like this, they desperately need those guys to step forward. And unfortunately, it did not really happen tonight. So the Padres, no doubt, when you talk about the top to middle of the lineup perspective, they have to be a whole lot more productive in the final 2 games of this series if the Padres want to win this series. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call if you want to get involved. We'll step aside, come back with the out-of-town scoreboard, play of the game, and get you ready for tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.
Fernando, you're facing a really good... But the Padres continue to play well.
Just to enjoy the experience, man.
And every series has ramifications.
Thank you very much.
San Diego Padres. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Fernando. Congrats on another big win. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Rays post-game show continues. Did you know that every MLB stadium, inside both dugouts, has a set of 3 phones? One that goes to the bullpen, another to each team's video replay room, and one that can communicate with the press box if need be. I'm a baseball broadcaster, and this week my team is playing in Frisco, Texas. This stadium is home of a lazy river beyond right field. It stretches 174 feet, one of the most unique things in any ballpark in America. And the first ever person to float on this lazy river, NBA star Dirk Nowitzki. Fernando, you were all over the...
Start the game.
Total game changer.
Everybody's watching baseball right now.
The strategy there.
Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Have you ever been to baseball heaven? That's Cooperstown, New York, home of the Baseball Hall of Fame. From the Babe to Jackie to Hammer and Hank to Sosa and McGuire to Ozzie, Griffey, Pedro, and so many more, this place is a crown jewel of baseball history, celebrating the game we love. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. How do I come up with different words and phrases to say during the game? Let me show you a little trick. In my setup at the stadium, I always have this list of play-by-play phrases. I'll look at it before a game or sometimes between innings. I also keep a running list of new things to use as I hear them when I'm watching or listening to baseball. That's part of how I come up with new ways to say stuff. Fernando, you're facing a really good...
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, Rockies 3 and the Padres nothing, as the Padres drop the 5th in a row, and they drop this series opener tonight in Denver. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. Let's take a full look at tonight's out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a few games going on right now. Astros and the Rangers are tied at 3 in the 12th inning in Arlington. Right now, the Rangers have 2 on with nobody out in the 12th inning. A's leading the Angels in Anaheim 9-4, end of the 6th inning there. Diamondbacks lead the Red Sox 6-1 in Arizona in the 7th inning. Games that have gone final. Cubs beat the Nationals today at Wrigley 11-5. Dansby Swanson. Ian Happ with home runs in that game. Swanson's 22nd and the 20th for Ian Happ. White Sox beat the Tigers 7-5 in Detroit. Brewers beat the Pirates 5-2 in Pittsburgh. Mets beat the Reds 5-4 in Cincinnati. Mets were dealing with a sticky situation in that game. Edwin Diaz was facing the bases loaded, nobody out, bottom half of the 9th inning, and Diaz got out of it. Reds did not score the tying run, trailing by 1. It was the Orioles and the Dodgers in Baltimore. They were tied at 1, bottom of the 9th inning. Tanner Scott on the mound for L.A., and Samuel Basallo dug in for Baltimore.
Scott with a 1-2. Fly ball, deep right field. Hernandez headed back. Track, wall. Samuel Basallo, walk-off home run against Tanner Scott. You want a great way to get your first home run in Oriole Park. Samuel Basallo says, make it a walk-off.
Jeff Arnold, Baltimore Orioles radio. Samuel Basallo, the young rookie catcher, a walk-off home run. Orioles beat the Dodgers 2-1. A piece of good news from tonight's game. Other scores around baseball. Blue Jays beat the Yankees 7-1 in New York. The Phillies beat the Marlins 9-3 in Miami. Max Kepler, Harrison Bader, Brandon Marsh, Bryson Stott all hit home runs in that game for the Phillies. Braves beat the Mariners 4-1 in Atlanta. Guardians beat the Rays 7-1 in Tampa Bay. Royals beat the Twins 2-1 in Kansas City. The Rangers, by the way, have walked it off in the Astros final there 4-3 in Texas in 12. Giants beat the Cardinals 8-2 in St. Louis, and that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday evening. So a final look at the standings tonight. Yes, it's that time of year in September where we're going to do this every night. Padres 2 games out of first place behind the LA Dodgers. Then you have the Padres now tied with the Mets in the wild card standings. So Padres right now sitting technically in second, but the Mets, again, they play each other, the Padres and Mets, coming up in a little while, not this coming week, but the week after. And Giants now 4 games out of a wild card spot between the Padres and the Mets, who again hold those final 2 spots. So that's the way it stands right now. Reds remain 6 games out. Final score in Colorado tonight: the Rockies 3, Padres nothing. Let's hear our play of the game.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Here's the 1-1. Goodman swings, sends it in the air to right field and deep. Fernando is back. He's at the big birdcage wall, and this one gonna go into the bullpen in right center field. Hunter Goodman's 28th of the year, and the Rockies strike first. It's 1-0.
Hunter Goodman, the home run against Nick Pivetta that came in the third for Goodman, his 28th home run of the season. We told you in our keys to the game tonight, you had to keep an eye on Hunter Goodman. He had 2 RBIs in this game, the home run, and unfortunately that home run, our play of the game. I'll tell you why. Had the Padres had the exact same game offensively, and that home run by Goodman been the only run the Rockies scored, guess what? Padres still lose this game. So Goodman, the home run, had an RBI double later in the game, and that was our play of tonight's game. Looking ahead to tomorrow, Padres and Rockies continuing this 3-game series as the Padres will now try to snap a 5-game skid. First pitch tomorrow, a little bit earlier than today at 5:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage will begin at 4:10. Right-hander Randy Vasquez will get activated to make the start tomorrow for the Padres, and right-hander McCade Brown on the mound for the Rockies. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the Rockies: 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 9. For the Padres, no runs, 3 hits, 1 error. They left on 3. Winning pitcher tonight, Kyle Freeland, who improves to 4-14. Nick Pivetta takes the loss. He's now 13-5, and the save goes to Victor Vodnik, his 7th of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 15 minutes, and the crowd at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado, 30,073. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 5:10. Pregame coverage begins at 4:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Bobby Sharton, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here tonight: the Colorado Rockies 3 and the San Diego Padres nothing. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Friday night.